You scared of the coronavirus, bro?
A bitch is scared. I'm a little scared, you know what I'm saying? Like,
We came in here fucking around for like 2 weeks straight. It's real now.
guess what, bitch? Coronavirus!
Everybody's stir crazy and weirded out by this, including me.
Yeah.
I don't dap up everybody.
I'm straight Michelle Obama Barack fist pumps right now.
Yeah, you going?
Coronavirus. Take it easy, just relax. Relax. You're doing great. It all will pass. Let me just tell you something. That's really bad reporting. You gotta be ashamed of yourself.
I just want one pack.
Hello, boys. Find everything you need?
Yep, all set.
Okay, let's see here. Toilet paper?
Toilet paper? Toilet paper? Toilet paper? Toilet paper?
What the fuck is up with COVID-19?
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Bugzy Lavoe. Thank you guys for tuning in to What the Fuck Is Up with COVID-19, the only show where we're making sure that you're safe, sound, and sanitized. Today's guest is Amanda Maldonado, and she is in the health industry. She's actually, what's your actual title?
So I am a registered nurse. My current job when I'm not in a pandemic, I work for Rush University Medical Center. And it's a teaching institution, and I work in the perioperative sector, which is prepping and recovering patients for anesthesia and after anesthesia. So we perform all types of surgeries, ranging from simple eye surgeries to major cancer surgeries, gynecological, everything you can think of, that we do it. So
how has your workplace changed since the pandemic?
Oh my gosh. Just like everybody else's workplaces, I'm sure we've seen a complete flip in operations. The special thing about where I work is that it's one of very few facilities that was literally created for something like this, for a pandemic, for mass casualty, for biological, biohazard kind of issues or whatever. Right. So they've literally turned all of our operations into treating COVID-19. We are the COVID-19 epicenter in Chicago. All of the surgeries, elective surgeries, have been pretty much canceled. So the only surgeries that are being performed are for life and limb, essentially. Anything that can kill you within 30 days or make you lose a limb, that's the type of surgeries we're doing. The type of precautions that are being taken with those surgeries is everybody has to be tested, and their status of COVID-19 needs to be known prior to. And then, they proceed with precautions after that.
If you listen to the news and if you watch the news, they're making it seem like at these hospitals, there's like literally bodies like just stacked up and like, and I'm sure every place is different, but like, what is it like in your situation, in your workplace?
I think what people are seeing mostly in the United States is the what's happening in New York.
Right.
It's a very skewed kind of pointed light there because it is the worst there at that time. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, being in the middle of the country and, the way the virus has moved, we had more time to prepare. Plus the type of facility that I work in, it's literally what they do. So it's different for us. And the surrounding hospitals, the 5 major surrounding hospitals around us, essentially are doing the same thing. Hospitals are pretty much empty, but that's because everybody who would usually come in for any other thing, they're not going there. Our death rates haven't been so dramatic that we're having refrigerated trucks. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, that's a real thing, but we're not at the point where we're needing refrigerated trucks or, we're stacking up bodies by the dozens or, whatever. But, we're preparing for that. Our surge time is coming around April 20th, they think.
Yeah.
It's very possible that, we will see something like that. We're praying not, obviously. And this is why we stress so much on the social distancing part and how much that truly plays a huge part. And if you're seeing empty hospitals, you should be happy. Yeah. You shouldn't be, talking junk, saying that people are faking or this and that and the other. It's kind of like they're preparing for the worst and we're hoping for the best,
So that kind of leads into my next question is like, we hear about, sanitizing yourselves, washing your hands, social distancing. Is there anything else that we can be doing?
I can tell you from experience what I've always done. to help myself and, hopefully help others refrain from getting any type of disease or any type of sickness. Treating your body as if it's something important and fueling it with the right things, staying hydrated, exercising, all of those things play a part in helping it's a machine. You got to help your body be oiled and well maintained to perform at an optimal level. I truly believe that. I know it's not the story for everybody. Things happen to everybody. Sometimes children get cancer. We know that that's an inevitable thing. Right. But for something like this, I think it's important to take all of these things into consideration, and everybody knows how to take care of themselves. I'm not saying everybody has the same access to the best foods and things like that. I'm very aware of, disparities that happen in between neighborhoods, cultures, even race. But I think, if you know what's good for you, you can research anything on the internet. I know it's hard to kind of pick out the best information, but if you can find a reliable source that you trust and see results in, not just stories. If you have family and friends who are, super health freaks and things like that, lean on them, ask them questions. But the biggest thing, and I can't stress this enough, is social distancing. It's not going anywhere if you don't have to. I mean, really using up that food that you have in the cabinets in the back of the pantry or whatever. Yeah. And just minimizing your exposure. You minimize your exposure, you minimize your risk of getting it. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, so that's definitely one of the reasons why I reached out to you originally, is because I was just seeing so much information. And some of it was actually conflicting, so I just didn't know what was truth and what wasn't. Because there's a lot.
Hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's spitting out what they believe is the best. I mean, I think that's the culture we live in now too, right? Social media in itself. Everybody has an opportunity to say what I think is the best. Mm-hmm. What I'm doing is going to work, So it's hard, and it's hard, especially now when you're in the middle of something that could very well kill you or, hurt you or your family really bad. You really want to grasp onto something that you feel good about. So
just, so you can quickly run down, what are the symptoms?
My job now, what I'm doing now with COVID-19, I have moved to, we have a special call center where we receive calls from people who feel like they're sick or are concerned that they have symptoms of the virus. So I assess those symptoms, and we determine whether or not they need to get tested, whether they need to go to the ER or maybe have a video visit with a doctor or something like that. Mm-hmm. So what we're asking patients is, how are you feeling? What do you feel? So what we're looking for is sore throat, cough, fever. And doesn't mean you have to have all of them at the same time. But if you have any semblance of these, these symptoms, sore throat, cough, fever, loss of smell and taste is now considered one of the more common symptoms, and shortness of breath or, pain in the chest when you're trying to breathe. Now, when I'm talking shortness of breath in an emergency situation is if you get up and you can't take 10 steps without gasping for air or feeling like you got to stop and sit down, that's shortness of breath,
Okay.
Yeah. It might feel, you're going to feel uncomfortable. I don't know if you've ever had a bad flu or cold, but when you feel like junk and you're coughing and you're trying to catch your breath, that sucks. It doesn't feel good, but that's not severe shortness of breath. Right. Unfortunately, because we're trying to avoid reaching the capacity or overreaching capacity, we don't want you coming to the ER with your cold symptoms, right, which most people are getting, praise God, it's when you get to the point that you're really short of breath and you're having pain in your chest. And then also if you have high risk factors. So if you're pregnant, if you have a history of diabetes or heart disease, high blood pressure, any asthma, any immune issues like, lupus, or you're getting cancer treatment or HIV, you've received an organ transplant before. There's, plenty of things that, kind of put you at high risk because your immunity is knocked down. So when you have kind of that perfect mix, that's what puts you in that high risk category.
So one thing that I've recently seen on the news also is that they're saying that some people might have it and they might not show any symptoms. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Or they show very mild symptoms, which is a beautiful thing, because then if you have it and you don't get sick, that's awesome. But it's not good for the sense of spreading.
Right.
Because if you don't know you have it, you're not really taking special precautions. So you're just, you're exposing yourself to whoever, whenever.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important not to only think of this of, oh, I feel good and I can do whatever. It's, what if I do have it and I don't feel the symptoms yet? Chilling with grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
Then they end up getting it and having a very severe reaction. And I can't stress that enough. It's a very, very, and that's one of the problems that we're going to have to face later too with preventing the spread.
Yeah, that's scary though. But so nothing else I wanted to touch on also is, once you have it and say you're experiencing mild symptoms, what should you be doing? Like,
unfortunately, because we don't have the magic bullet yet, there is no actual treatment. So we're advising patients to basically treat yourself like you would if you had the flu or cold at home. Make sure you have Tylenol for a fever. Paying close attention to the directions on the bottle, not taking too much in a 24-hour period, because Tylenol can damage your liver if you're taking too much of it. Ibuprofen if you don't have anything else. I know there's been a lot of things in the news as far as fear of taking ibuprofen and the effects of that on the system and the virus. And I don't know. I can't tell you the science behind that. But if it's raised questions and you feel more comfortable just taking some Tylenol, just take the Tylenol. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know, acetaminophen is Tylenol. So if you have something like a cold medicine that has that in it, that's Tylenol inside of there. So it's good to take those kind of medications to try and control your fever. If your fever gets above 104 and it's not going down with medications, that's something you need to think about calling the doctor about. You should, be hydrating yourself, because if you have a fever, it's burning off all that extra fluid in your system. You need to try and stay hydrated as much as possible. Cough drops, cough medicine if you're having a cough, just try to treat the symptoms as much as you can. All those old wives' tales that your mom taught you, if you're using Vicks or,
got the Vicks, yeah.
Whatever, just do whatever makes you feel better. I'm a big believer in the healing power of chicken soup. It's got protein, it's got electrolytes, you know what I'm saying? It's, so yeah, just do all those things that will hopefully make you feel better, and hopefully your body will be able to fight this thing off. And fortunately, that's what we're seeing in 97% of the population right now, at least, is that people are coming out of it. And that seems like a good number. But again, like I said before, I tell people all the time, like, out of 100%, you know what I'm saying? If out of every 100 people that if 3 or 4 people are going to die, you have to think about that.
Yeah. I saw like a meme that said something like, if they were to tell you that 3 Skittles in a bag would kill you, you throw away the whole bag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you don't know. So you have to treat it that way. You have to just be cautious. And there's a lot of, speculation about who, where, what, why this is happening. The fact of the matter is that it's happening.
Right.
And, we're all in this together, as cliche as that sounds, but, now is not the time to be selfish and to just be worrying about yourself. You should absolutely worry about yourself, but just think about the people that you love and care about, and the people that you want to chill with after this is all over, and, try to protect yourself and protect them.
For sure. Like little Duval says, he says, we're all in this together, but stay away from me.
Yep. Yep. I love that. That's exactly what it is. And, when we tell patients that they need to self-isolate, like let's say they get the test and they know they're positive.
Yeah.
And we tell them you need to self-isolate. That means no contact with anybody in any way, shape, or form. That means get in a room and hold yourself in that room with your Netflix and your snacks for 14 days. Mm-hmm. The recommendation is that 14 days from the time of symptom start is kind of the period that you have to wait. Yeah. I know other people are hearing different things. Even other hospitals are making nurses come back to work before that 14-day period is over. That's another issue that we have, is that, issues with conflicting information as far as, okay, when can I go out? When can I interact with people and things like that? And so that's another battle that we'll face more and more too.
Okay, last question. I've been hearing a lot of different reports, and maybe you know, maybe you don't. Just is the virus airborne?
So again, this has been a very hot topic, especially in the hospitals, because nurses every day are exposing themselves to these patients, and if you don't have the proper equipment to protect yourself from an invisible disease, you don't know what or how that's going to happen. So what the CDC is saying is that it is not necessarily airborne. It's what we take what we call a droplet precaution. Okay. So when you sneeze or cough and the droplets come out of your mouth, they come out or your nose and they float a certain distance and then they fall. So it doesn't necessarily dissipate into the air, but if you aerosolize it, which means like if you're getting a nebulizer treatment, I don't know if you've ever seen somebody get one of those if they have asthma. It's basically a fluid that you breathe in, it aerosolizes or it turns into a vapor.
Yeah, I used to have asthma. I used to take those.
Exactly. So, the smoke, it's like smoke. It comes out and it's a very thin vapor.
It's like a healthy hookah.
Yep, exactly. So just think of it that way. Like if that would be it becomes airborne in that sense when it becomes aerosolized. If somebody is intubating somebody, which means that they're putting a breathing tube down their throat, and they're close to them and the secretions kind of come out in vapor form, that's kind of the airborne quality that we're talking about. So, I mean, if you can take every precaution to not be around anybody in any way, sense, or form, but if you can stand at least 6 to 10 feet away from people, that's the key. So, there's still debate on whether or not, it's truly airborne or droplet, but that, according to what the CDC is recommending for us, it's a droplet kind of a precaution.
Okay. Well, thank you, Amanda, for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your.
Thank you for your time.
I hope things, I hope this whole situation is over soon.
It will. It'll get better. That's another thing people got to focus on too. That it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
Okay. Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you. Stay blessed. Stay safe.
Thank you.